Welcome to a new edition of the Neon Jazz interview series with Polish-born, New York City-based jazz pianist, improviser, and composer Kuba Cichocki. He opened up about his 2023 CD, Flowing Circles. It's a great album, surviving COVID and his life in music. He specializes in merging that which is often kept at odds, the classic and the avant-garde, the technical and the emotional, rigorously written and the spontaneously performed. He is a big talent from the Eastern Europe jazz scene in the late 2000s, and he would leave Warsaw on a scholarship to attend the music school at the City College of New York. Since then, things have been opened up. He's played at jazz festivals across the United States, Europe, and Asia. He's just beginning. Enjoy this story. Well, hey, man, it's great to meet you. Thank you so much for taking a minute out. I really, really enjoyed Flowing Circles.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, and before we get into that album, I'd love to ask you about surviving the pandemic the last 3.5 years. How did you get through it, and how did it change you?
It's interesting how time, the feeling of time, like how weird it feels, especially when we talk about pandemic. It feels like quite a long time ago. It was just what, 4 years ago, right?
Yeah.
But also it seems like many of us, I think, I don't know. It was just such a weird time that it feels like you want to forget about it, or just seems distant. But anyways, it was we stayed home a lot. I mean, I actually got COVID right at the beginning, March 2020. So it felt like I had it before anybody knew what I was. But anyways, it was lots of time home. Actually, I spent some time on music making, so that was good. But just I don't know. In our neighborhood, we are Jackson Heights in Queens. There is an Elmhurst Hospital, which was one of the heaviest, very heavily hit in terms of COVID. So we would hear the sirens going on all the time. So it was just a reminder. It's really bad. So for us, it wasn't we were also worried about the families in Poland. I'm from Poland, and my wife as well. Otherwise, we survived in the end. It's all good, but just a very weird, what was it, like 2 years, 2.5 or whatever. It just feels like, a very strange period where you lose sense of time and also in terms of activities, very, very weird. The music stopped at some point, basically. I mean, we did some online thing like a Zoom concert here and there, but otherwise it was tough. But it's interesting that it's time goes by, and then after some time it goes away. It doesn't seem like something that you keep thinking about. I mean, hopefully, and it seems like we were basically over the whole COVID, the main most dangerous thing. So so we're back in our routines, and it seems like it's good. It's good now. It was just a strange period for sure.
I agree. Absolutely. Well, let's talk about a fun thing, which is Flowing Circles. Talk to me about how you artistically put this album together and how you feel about it.
How did I put it artistically? So I don't know. It feels like it's just quite a few different things, quite a few different factors. It's actually not that easy to put it together in order, because it was just so many things. I mean, like one thing that was kind of important, it seems like, especially after when I look at it from a perspective. So I did a duo album with the guitar player Brandon Seabrook. That was in 2021. And I thought, this is actually nice. This is actually really cool. How about I'll try something with a bigger group, something in that context. So meaning this kind of, generally speaking, avant-garde approach, meaning experimental approach to form and interaction and sounds, and in general just this kind of sound, but with a bit different setting and context. And I mean, I was going for something more jazz oriented, some jazz elements. It wasn't very clear at the beginning. I actually wrote a few pieces that were supposed to combine those elements, and they did to an extent. I was glad they did, but even at the beginning it wasn't that clear. So that was one thing, sort of putting together the group that sort of right away, you might say, set a tone or a vibe, or So I had great rhythm section. Colin Stranahan and Edward Perez, and Lucas Pino on saxophone. It was really great to have, honestly, people from a little different, from different backgrounds and different stylistically, a bit different. And so you used the word artistically, how this sort of came together. That was one thing, sort of to put together a few different influences, and that was so that happened on the level of bringing these musicians together. Also, my wife, vocalist Bogna Kicińska, also was part of it, part of that sound. So quite a few different influences, and that was one aspect. Other thing was just I was actually, it had been a few years before I recorded it that I was thinking about the album. I was thinking about music that maybe should have been recorded a while ago. Like there was one piece that I wrote when I was 20 something. It was just a long time ago, and in a way long overdue. And I felt like, okay, I mean, it's not the most fresh tune, but I just want to have it on the album. And the thing is, it just never happened on other. It was never a place to do it on other albums. So that's another thing. Just partly the music that we recorded were pieces that I knew, I played a few years before with different groups, and I just wanted to have it on my new album, just like that. And then, let's say, the other half was something that I wrote specifically for this group, for this project. So in a way, yeah, it contains quite a few things. And the more I talk about it, and the more I also, when I did a artist statement for the publicist, I realized, oh, this is so much. It touches so many things. Let me see if I can actually put it in order. It's just, and I think I don't want to say I failed, but it wasn't that easy to me. I went into some maybe a bit intellectual analysis of how it all went, but in a way, in the end, it's music, and it's an experience that happens, and sometimes it's not something you fully control. I mean, in jazz, maybe more often than not, you don't fully control the ultimate effect. So I was surprised on the day of the session. I was surprised quite a few times by what really happened, and I guess maybe just leaving that space, space for that to happen, allowing that to happen. That's something that I'm really interested in. So you don't really know. You have a certain context. You have musicians that they can they can play so well that something is going to happen most likely. But then in the end, you just see what happens, and at least partly, I know. I mean, many of those pieces that I wrote for the concert, for the album, were actually quite specific. So it's not like there was super open, totally free. No, not at all. I mean, some of them, but they always had that, quite a few moments where it could really go different places, and that's something that I like about it. Otherwise, like I said at the beginning, it's quite a few things happened, and quite a few things were parts of it, of the whole picture. So as you can see, it's just a list of things that that sort of made, in the end, made the final effect. And it's just interesting also to talk about it afterwards, because you realize, oh, okay, so what was the most important? It's hard. It's actually hard to say. Quite a few things were in the process, and yeah, basically that's it.
So, talk to me a little bit about your childhood growing up and how jazz became your life.
Okay, so that's yeah. There are a few things that were important when I was young. Basically, I come from a small town in Poland called Chodzież, and it's in the western part of Poland. It's actually, it's really interesting. There are two big factors why I became a musician, and why jazz. So, and they're quite specific. So in that hometown, um, there has been a summer workshop, summer jazz camp happening for over 50 years, which is actually maybe, I think they advertise it as the oldest in Europe, and one of the oldest in the world in terms of this kind of event. And it was just that was it. At some point I just started. I just joined. I just participated. Although I remember a funny thing, when I was really young, I didn't really like it. So jazz seemed like distant, and just I didn't get it. I remember the one thought, oh, I don't really get it, but it's kind of fun, and let's see what happens. And after a few years, I started being a participant, and at some point I became the faculty, and so on. But that was one of the things. So really important, and many really good musicians from all over the country and Europe as well would come and teach and participate and take part. So lots of good music, lots of good jazz, would happen during those days in the summer. And the second big factor is my family. Maybe the order should be, there should be the other way around. My father is a guitar player and a teacher. He also plays piano, and he would conduct this semi-professional choir, in which my whole family would sing at some point, which was just very fun musical experience. For quite a few years we would sing, and it was also it was like partly classical, but actually even more jazz influenced singing, like Take Six kind of vocal group and sound. So but lots of musical traditions in the family. My mom would sing with my dad when they were younger in groups, actually vocal groups like that, sort of jazz influenced, but also sort of like singer songwriter with this different vocal parts. But lots of music in my home, like since the very beginning. So that was, definitely, even though it seems like I never really took lessons with my dad, like officially. We never really did it because I just didn't want to, the normal thing, but about the kids not wanting to listen to their parents in general. I might say that happens a lot. But then, I would learn, obviously, a lot. Just we would play duos, piano, guitar, and we do lots of things together. So anyways, these are the two things. I would say maybe first the family traditions, genes, and the music we would listen at home, which was my dad had those jazz cassettes, lots of like Take Six, from more jazz oriented, Pat Metheny, Stan Getz, lots of different things. And yeah, and then these were the, and then it just, I went to the music school in Warsaw, from small, that, this my small hometown, which was a big step. But obviously, I was very glad I did it. It was actually after high school, so I waited, or it happened that it just happened way late in terms of the actual musical education. So at the beginning, it was, my dad, some lessons, some private lessons, but not too much, and then the jazz camp, the jazz workshop every summer, and then after high school, I would go to the actual music school with the jazz department in Warsaw, and then I spent there. I was there for about maybe 6 7 years, 4 plus 3 7 maybe. Lots of things happened. Also in terms of getting to know the environment, the jazz musicians, from different circles, actually, and playing different things with different people. And at some point, my friend, guitar player, who was at New School in New York, I came to visit him for a few weeks, and then I came again for 2 months, and then the next time I actually applied. Something like that. I think it was a bit longer, that period, but at some point, actually, we came here with my wife from Poland. To study at City College, and for her it was Queens College, and then and I, since 2010, I've been in New York, first at studying at City College, and then on my artist visa. That's how it happened that I'm here.
So talk to me a little bit about, what do you like the best about being a professional musician?
You know, I think, just in general, making music together. I mean, I know it's quite simple. I guess it became even more simple, after all those years of doing different things musically. That I mean, it's obviously, especially if you have an opportunity to play with really good musicians, you get to appreciate, the energy being shared, the experience being shared, and just, I don't know, the simple things about music making. In the end, I know, I mean, there are different musical styles, and some of them that don't really feel like it's any easy or simple music making, but still, even when I play avant-garde, and sometimes, I mean, it's really like just having fun and just expressing simple things, even though it might sound like really difficult or distant for let's call an average listener. But having a frequent opportunity to play with really good musicians, or with musicians in general, you start to appreciate even the gigs that are not always perfect in terms of your ideal conditions. But it's just a form of being into the experience and appreciating that opportunity. But obviously, yes, it's true. The better the context, the better the level, the higher the level, you realize, oh wow, this is so. We just had the CD release show recently, and it was just, even the rehearsal was just so much fun to explore new things and to try new things. And especially if you write your own music, then you can put so much in it, so much of a different experience, if you're willing to, if that's your, let's say, thing, because some people maybe prefer not to include, let's say, so much. I do like it though, and it can contain so much that you feel like, oh wow, this is so fulfilling, and it's just so much of what I think or feel or experience, so So in general, um, looking for those experiences where you can really, first of all, and I guess maybe first of all would be to share experience with other people. At least that's the goal, and it's great if it happens on some, let's say, significant level. But at the same time, just express your, your world, whatever it is, your emotions, your point of view, your just your approach to sound in general, because sound is so, it can be so many things. So, and you can express through so many different kinds of sounds, even like every day I'm hearing some sound from the street right now. So, which in the avant-garde world could be easily sort of a language on its own, and you could express through that language. But that would be it, just look. Sometimes it is also, not the easiest, not the most obvious thing. It's hard work, actually. Hard work to for me at least, to maintain that one thing, mindset, but also I guess maybe a skill set, and also maintain the kind of relationship with musicians that allow you to create that energy, because I think we're also good at limiting ourselves and maybe not allowing the energy to go out smoothly and easily and clearly. So again, a few different things, but in the end, playing different kinds of music where it just also it's objective. So for me, it's going to be a bit different thing than for somebody else. But for me, sometimes it just feels right, and it's it depends on a few different things. But having those opportunities, it just feels like, I mean, a thing to it's worth living for, to be really honest. And that's the thought I had after the last rehearsal and the show. If you find the right people and you can express yourself really fully, and you feel like, oh, this is really it, then it's a really strong motivation, really strong feeling that, oh, this makes sense, even if the money is not great, or maybe it's not something you won't be winning a Grammy for it, or even any kind of the award thing. It's not always the thing, but if you feel it's right, if you feel it's strong, then it's something to to just keep in mind and work for, and just keep trying so that it keeps happening.
So talk to me a little bit about, if anyone wants to pick up the album, learn about live shows, anything about your work, what's the best way to do that?
So the album was released by Brooklyn Jazz Underground, and one of the ways to get the album would be through their website. So if you go to Brooklyn Jazz Underground website, there is information and album cover and how you can get the CD. You can also go to my Bandcamp page with my name in Flowing Circles. In terms of the live shows, right now I'm in the process of booking some new shows, so it will be announced pretty soon, I think. But most likely in I would say spring, this spring, maybe late spring, we would have a few more shows, most likely with the same ensemble somewhere in New York.
Excellent. This has been wonderful. Thank you so much for opening up about your life and music, the new album. Best of luck with everything. I appreciate it.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Thanks for listening and tuning in to another Neon Jazz interview, where we give you a bit of insight into the finest players and minds in Poland, New York City, Kansas City, and spots all over the world, giving fans all that jazz. And thanks to Kuba for his time, energy, and story. If you want to hear more Neon Jazz interviews, you can find us on Spotify and Apple Podcasts. Subscribe to us at YouTube, and for everything Neon Jazz, go to theneonjazz.blogspot.com. Until next time, enjoy the jazz, my friends.
Neon Jazz.